Throughout human history, mankind has wreaked terrible havoc on itself through global conflicts. Some believe that the end of humanity may be at the hands of atomic war. Each country that exists in today's world has its own outlook on defending their territory. Budgets, protocols, and defense policies look very different around the world. We are going to take a look at three very dissimilar countries from surface value that have strikingly similar defense budgets, protocols, and policies. The United States is a democratic republic, Russia is an ex-communist federation, and North Korea is a socialist dictatorship. There are plenty of differences that could warrant its own video, so for the sake of time, we're going to stop there. The United States, Russia, and North Korea have similar defense spending, protocols, and policies due to their histories and current priorities, despite being drastically different countries from surface value. Until 1947, one of the president's cabinet positions was the Secretary of War, who was the head of the War Department. President Harry Truman renamed the Secretary of War the Secretary of Defense, and the War Department the Department of Defense, which was a clear sign of the change in priority. The avoidance of war holds the highest priority today, as indicated by the 1947 name change. The hope is that the United States can play a role in limiting violent conflict around the world through its various diplomatic and military-oriented policies. On December 25, 1991, the Soviet flag flew in Moscow for the last time. Since the fall of the Soviet Union, the priorities of the Russian military have shifted drastically. The historical amount spent on Soviet weapons research and development was an especially well-guarded state secret. The major challenge in understanding Soviet and Russian military spending and policy is the lack of transparency in officially published information. The history of North Korea began at the end of World War II in 1945. The surrender of Japan led to the division of Korea at the 38th parallel. The 38th parallel was replaced by the Korean Demilitarized Zone following the Korean War. The most important part of North Korean defense policy is Songun. Songun is the military-first policy of North Korea that prioritizes the Korean People's Army in all affairs of the state. The U.S. Armed Forces are the third largest global military force in terms of personnel, with about 1.4 million members. The budget of the United States military was $778 billion in 2020, the highest in the world by over $500 billion. The National Defense Strategy envisions that our military is able to conduct several missions simultaneously, these being maintaining a strong nuclear deterrent, defeating China or Russia in conventional combat, and deterring North Korea while doing so. As of 2019, the Russian Armed Forces was the fourth largest military in the world, with about 1 million personnel. It was estimated that Russia's military spending in 2020 was at $61.7 billion, which may sound small compared to that of the United States, but is the fourth largest in the world. In terms of capabilities of the Russian military, nuclear weapons are the only one in which Russia can be considered on par for a global military power. Their most recent doctrine is said to be defensive in nature and is designed for the current times in international relations. North Korea also has one of the largest standing armies in the world, with an estimated 1.3 million soldiers. While it remains among the poorest countries in the world, North Korea spends nearly a quarter of its gross domestic product on its military, according to U.S. State Department estimates. This means about $3.7 to $4.2 billion. In recent history, North Korea has begun an accelerated buildup of weapons of mass destruction. Despite attempted sanctions from the United States and NATO, North Korea shows no signs of slowing down in terms of nuclear weapon development. Unfortunately, high levels of information suppression occur in North Korea, meaning that accurate data regarding their military does not exist. This means we could be missing vital pieces of their defense puzzle. Each country is deeply focused on defending their own territory and protecting their allies. As the United States finds an enemy in both Russia and North Korea, they find one in America. All three countries invest a lot in military technologies, as evidenced by the partially known and partially estimated spending that each country does annually. Each country is fixated on weapons of mass destruction and the checkmate move that they would use following an attack on them or their allies. The United States, Russia, and North Korea seem to converge on their defense budgets, protocols, and policies after all. These trends of high military spending and large military resource allocation should continue to progress upwards in the current political climate of the world. Until the end of human history, mankind will continue to wreak havoc on itself through global conflict. Whether or not the end of humanity will come at the hands of atomic war is yet to be determined, but one thing is for sure. War may sometimes be a necessary evil, but no matter how necessary, it is always an evil, never a good. Thanks for watching.